So we'll continue to the previous one discussion because we were here like around. We done with the venture capital, seed funding, angel investing, right? Then even we look to the even general terms as well. Mm, okay. Okay. So do you have any idea about the private equity? So what is private equity? We'll do discuss, okay? Even I would like to understand your understanding about the private equity as well, right? So we can make this interactive session together. Mm-hmm. Okay. So mm-hmm. No worries, no worries. Okay. So private equity, it just, again, the would say it's an entity which can help to manage the funds for private investors and the private ones once they the private equity managers or who are the volunteers, if they are able to raise the fund successfully, then they can invest that fund into the private companies as well, private companies. Okay, so that is what they, even in the definition itself you can see like private equity. Equity that you can call like private, it means it will be for a limited investors, right? And again, private equity, the another meaning would be like for a private company only. Equity, it means stock. Private, it means limited, right? Within a very, like, it could be 100 investor, or it could be the 200 investors, or maybe 500 investors, right? So that is what. But yeah, so we will continue to this your example. Suppose you're you have a good understanding about the investing, and now you have decided to develop your own private equity business, right? So because you are a manager, and even you like most to manage the funds and to take the investment decisions, or to evaluate the business models, to identify the curative business ideas, or other, the growing businesses or unique businesses, and accordingly you're like, very enthusiastic to invest in such private businesses. Okay, so but yeah, so how can you start to develop your private equity business? What is the requirement to register your business? Because it's, yeah, definitely there is a act, private, sorry, the Alternative Investment Act. So under that you can see there's products, private equity, venture capital, angel investing, and many more, mezzanine financing, right? Structured finance, loans, term loan, business loan, revolving. There are a number of products, even hedge fund, mutual fund. So that is also part of alternative investment. So why we call alternative? Because for equity, these are alternatives. right? And even that is what they call like alternative investment options that we have. Then the first requirement would be definitely we'll have to register our business as per the requirement of Alternative Investment Act of that particular company. Sorry, country. My mistake, right? Because every country will have their own regulations, right? So first of all, then you will have to meet to the Commerce Ministry or Finance Ministry of India. You will have to submit all the required documentations. So documentations means what exactly? Because when you work as the owner of that private equity business, so it means definitely you will have a title of that general partner, right? Then, yeah, the general partner, it means you are not going to invest, you are going to manage the funds and fund related activities or investment decisions, right? Then definitely will have to find some investors, limited partners, because they will contribute the fund, right? But then how they gonna be contribute the fund, or when how they gonna be process that fund to you, right? First like for then apart from that, so here first of all then you will have to register your business as a general partner. So once you register the business, then you will have to sign the agreement with limited partners. Global, either master agreement. Why the agreement is important or needed? There are a number of reasons, right? And even in investor also, you can see there won't be a one investor, right? For example, you found top 10 startups, growing startups, right? Top 10 growing startups, I would say. One is Paytm, then PhonePe, Nazara, or maybe others would be like Zomato, then Flipkart, yeah, that one. Then other would be like there is one more popping up, Mobiwick. Then the others would be hmm, there is two. Okay, so we'll take this because I'm not able to recall at the moment much, so we'll take this only. Okay, so these are the startups, but not even startups. They are, you can say, like growing startups. Okay, because very important is startups. It means at the initial stage, we have seen that who can contribute for a seed funding, right? Above that, you can see. So we have discussed already the rounds or stages of seed fundings and series of funds, how they're raised, right? Okay, so one more is the popular, the one more, the startup is Byju's. These are the real examples, okay? Byju's. Okay, so Byju's is an edutech business. Even you should know that. So how they are doing, what is the business model, what is the turnover, or how much is their customer base, everything, their products, services, and margin, how they charge the margin and generate the revenues, right? You should know everything. Then Mobiwick is in again shopping payment solution, transfer, right? So you can select payment solution. Flipkart, online shopping. Zomato, delivery, online delivery and food. Nazara, tech and game. Okay. PhonePe, again payment solution. And Paytm, again payment solution, right? We'll do this color so people also can read this. Okay. Okay, say this now. Okay, so here are the general partners. Again, you can see the strength. So it could be one, two, three, four, five, right? Because one person, that he or she cannot uh, this build entire the hedge, private equity business and all. So, but it depends. If you have a capacity, then you can do it on your own. But if you don't have, then you will have to again find some other partners as well. But let's say we are assuming that there are like A and B partners, right? And the investors, because limited partners means investors, right? So who those are like HNIs, highly net worth individual or institutional investors. Highly net worth and individual or else institutional investor. Institution means it could be bank, and individual it means the individual person like Ambani, Birla, Tata, Adani, and even we can also contribute because there is no such a rule, so we cannot. But as simple as that, you should have that capital because the requirement of this capital would be like views 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, 10 crore, 20 crore. That is okay. So see that let's say here also we are assuming that so at the initial stage because we are launching this private equity part, so that is what, so we have only five investors, right? So let's say uh, C, D, E, F, and Z. These are the investors. Okay. So you have this businesses or startups or growing companies, and now you have decided so you will provide fund to these businesses. See why will you provide this fund? This is something different because that is what you are there to take the investment decisions, right? So your objectives could be you have a strong uh, the information about the businesses. For example, let's say Zomato. You feel that the Zomato is the the major player in the delivery business, and the country like India, so we have a almost uh, 50 to 20 metro cities, and even this the modernization as or this I would say जितना भी सिटी डेवलप्स हो रहा है वो उतना बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है so people are looking to the online delivery and all due to times and all because they don't have times to go to restaurant and take a foods so that is what everyone is running out of time So that is what this delivery business can be multiply your assets in upcoming time, right? The same applies to all the businesses. Even you can see the Nazara Tech is one of the largest player in the gaming business, or else apart from that they have the other business lines as well. They are into the entertainment, or the I would say the not entertainment if I'm not wrong. They are into the that IPL and all. They organize this sport events and all, right? Right. So, and even Flipkart is also one of the major the online seller. So they have a unique platform, and millions of seller who have listed on their platform, and again millions or trillions of customers they use this platform to buy the products. Right, because while choosing such a unique startups, you should have fundamentals in your hand. Why you are investing in that particular startups? What is the reason behind it? Are they curative? Are they unique? Are they have a monopoly in that particular sector? Is there unique business scale? Right. So every aspect that will have to verify here. Otherwise, what will happen? The ultimately, अगर आप invest करोगे, it means there is a risk, and risk can be will have to lose our principal capital as well, and that happened because uh, in a see the in a payment business we have like Paytm and PhonePe, so they are like competitors for each others, right? Even including MobiWik, but so that happens. So that is what while selecting the unique businesses we should take a more precautions, right? And even so there would be a process like to negotiate with the valuations part as well. So we cannot easily negotiate with the businesses. For example, here that before investing or before signing the agreement with the PTM, will have to do the valuation, valuations of a PTM, then future prospect, then fair value for buying, right? Then management, their management. How is their management? How they work? How is their the approach towards their business, right? Everything means everything. And definitely the business under future prospect that you can see the business model, scale, their customer base, revenue, because as I mentioned, so most of the time the private equities they will have to invest the businesses in like the businesses are already in a loss, right? They are not till the time they are not able to generate the profit. That is what even businesses are looking for a funding, long-term funding, right? So this the points applies to all the startups, and even in a interview process also most of the time that you can see the questions on that points why we look for a private equity investment, right? There are, because from a business perspective you can see other points, and from an investor perspective you can see the different points. So we'll see that on a document as well, but I just want to draw this rough structure here so that you can understand, and then we can go the point by point, right? So these are the points again important: valuation, fair value for buying, future prospect, their management, business model, scale, customer, revenue, everything. So, and still, if you have a question, who can do this? They can hire to the CA firms or auditing firms or valuers who can actually do the valuations of their business, right? Even they can appoint the middleman who can help to negotiate with the PTM. This is also important, right? Suppose, for example, the PTM's entire value or the value is at the point is 100 million. That, let's assume it, 100 million, and future prospect, it means this value can be multiplied up to $1,000 million. Just we have this, the prediction. So value 100 million can be multiplied into 1,000, right, in upcoming time or in next 5 years or 10 years. And the fair value for buying is around, suppose the total. See, there are again, to calculate a value or to perform the valuation process in the business, there are two types. There are again many, but two types are quite familiar and famous, that I would say. One is discounted cash flow method, DCF. But then other is market. It means, suppose the present valuations of this PTM is 100 million, then definitely we'll have to buy this. What your portion that you're going to be invest in PTM, that will have to consider this 100 million dollar as a market value. And if you are like saying that, if you have any other insight or information in your hand, if you feel like this is not a real value of a PTM, it is like only the 80 million that you can see. Let's say the 80 million that only you can see your calculator, maybe your valuer can suggest you. So as per our data, so it seems like only the 80 million dollar in the value we can see with the PTM, right? So it depends on the negotiation. The future fair value for buying is like depends on the negotiation. If you can negotiate, then you can negotiate with the market value, or if otherwise you can negotiate with the DCF as well, discounted cash flow, or discounted value as well. Discount, it means because you are just cutting the here of 20% or 10% of from the market value. The reasons could be many. Okay, if you see the for example, any litigation is pending on the PTM business, or any the approval is pending from the regulator, or any the project that is it's if you see like any units or any product, or maybe any the application that is not working properly, there could be a number of reasons. So that is what, so depends, because this is like we'll have to do the thorough analysis of the business, and then we can only go to the conclusion like, so how much would be the value of that particular business. And we are buying that actually, right? We are paying that money. So that is what everything should be like on top. So we cannot compromise with these factors while investing in private equity. Okay, so this applies to all the businesses. So now let's say, so for a Paytm, their current valuation like 100 million, but we are just contributing 10 million dollar. Okay, same applies to, suppose the here valuation is around 200 million, if you can see, and we are investing here like 20. Suppose in Nazara that you can see the valuation is around again 100 million dollar. You can invest. Depends. It's like there is nothing. Even you can take 50%, 10%, 20% stake, right? It depends. But let's say here again you are investing 10 million. So you are looking for a moderate type of risk in all the businesses. So that is what you have decided to invest only 10%. out of their total valuation, right? Or even you can increase slowly and steadily. Okay. Then in Zomato, again, Zomato's valuation is, suppose this is not a perfect values. Okay, we are just, yeah, as a, assuming that, and this is for like general discussion perspective, but the same structure that you can see in the businesses and in the companies as well, so it would be the same. There is no point, right? And for Zomato, let's assume it, so $150, $150 million. So here that we are going to invest 50. For Flipkart, you can see $200 million. So here you can again invest 20 or else 10, depends. If you see that it's the Flipkart's biggest competitor is Amazon, that even you can reduce your investment 20 to 10. So depends. But then Mobiwick, again the valuation is around 100, but that you can see that already you have invested in Paytm and PhonePe, and even these are the competitors for each other. So you can even keep a lease portion in Mobiwick, only $5 million. Okay, what is this? Okay, and Byju's, let's say this is one of the largest edutech firm in the education business and working globally. So they have a unique business scale or line. So that is what you have decided to invest 20%. So it means almost 40 million in their business. Depends, because you are a manager, so you can decide, you can design, you can architect, you can rebound your portfolio. This is how the portfolio looks like. So now the total investment would be around. So here that even you can call total global investment amount. These words are really important. Okay, even you can see the interviewers can ask in the interview process as well. So total global investment amount, total global commitment amount, total global the deal size amount. Okay, so we should know that. I'll highlight to the important ones. See this. So now the point is, so now see the first of all, see the requirement. Okay, so 10 million, 20 million, 30, 40, 55, 60, 100. So total investment that at the moment you required is 100 million, right? $100 million. This is the total global investment that you are looking for. See, as an investment or general partner, you don't have this fund because this is a views amount. Okay. So now turn to the investors or limited partners. These are like HNI investors. This word is again important. Commitment amount, right? And the another word is like, even you can call this amount is like total global commitment amount. Okay, so let's say now you have a requirement of the fund is around 100 million, right? And so here are like five investors, and they are ready to contribute equally in the investment or in the pool. Okay, or even call like the investment pool. Investment pool. or else you can call it special purpose vehicle. Yes, PV. It is just a account number, okay? So special purpose vehicle means it is nothing but like different. That pool actually you can see the pool where water is flowing under that. No, it is not like that. It is just a account number that you can see. They have created the account number to receive or to repay the funds from that account. So while they will process the funds, they will process or actually transfer the fund to the this that particular account. That account balance called as pool. Let's say everyone decided to contribute 20 million, so your requirement will be fulfilled, right? Then you will have 100 million. Okay, this is very important. Okay, this is very important means very important. This framework is very important. Even I'll forward this sheet to you. You can refer that, or even you can carry this for your future reference as well, because we took all the practical examples and we're discussing that. So that is what, and even we are picking up important points as well from the private equity subject. Okay, commitment. Okay, there's like total commitment. Okay, so see the why the global or master agreement come into picture, why this deed is important, what is the reason behind this, right? So first of all, we'll put some insight on this the agreement part as well. Okay, global agreement. You cannot pay the entire fund like 10 million to the PTM in one go, right? In a one installment, that I would say, right? You cannot pay that, because what we'll have to do is we'll have to sign the agreement with the that investment firm and even investors and including general partners. So we'll have to sign the triparty agreement, right? So triparty it means like, so we'll see, we will first of all break down this fund, okay? So in the stages, let's say first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So every stage that will contribute 4 million, right? And here also we have already committed, so we can only issue the checks or payment in a stages, different stages. So it could be one, two, three, four, five. So let's say five stages. That one, two, three, four, and five. So in every stage that you can provide fund around 2 million, and this applies to all, right? As per their the fund commitment amount, as per the commitment amount. So here would be like, suppose let's say for a 20, then we'll have to contribute 4 each again, right? Because here that we have committed like 20 million will contribute to the phone pay. See, once you able to understand the structure, then definitely it will help us to understand the accounting as well. Why the accounting is important, why the documentation is important, why the all legal framework is important. We are dealing with the client money. We are investing into the different businesses, right? So that is what. So this is really significant for from accounting perspective as well, right? Right. because most of the time what happened, we directly touched the accounting part. So that is what it feels like. अरे यार मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ चीजें कि अकाउंटिंग क्यों कर रहे, क्यों कर रहे नहीं. So first of all we should know each and everything about the product in and out, right? So I'll remove this one. 100 million requirement, put it here. For a 15 million, let's say equally, if we divide, how much it would be? Hmm, 2 million. 1 million each. So that word we use like capital call. So now you will understand here. So how the capital call works, or commitment call, that the word we use in a private equity. Okay, see, this is the framework that we've done. Okay, so now see this. So here that you can see a number of the activities that will have to perform. So then if there is no master agreement in place, if there is no statement of work in place, then how you gonna be deal with all the stakeholders? How you gonna be trace to your investment or the funds that you're receiving from the limited partners? And apart from that, as a general partners, you will have to again contribute 20% fund, right, of entire that private equity private equity fund amount. Will have to You will have to also contribute that. Even you can contribute like 10% each, depends on you. So how you want to contribute and all. Ye 10%, be 10%. So see this. The important is how you gonna trace all those activities. Even you can see the name. The name is like term sheet. In the interview process also, most of the time they ask question, what is term sheet? So term sheet, it means which is a general terms and conditions that you can see, or clause that you can see on a document, the document called as term sheet, right? And the again master agreement, it means, so we'll have to sign the master agreement with the investor and issuer, or the general partners, and will have to prescribe all the terms and conditions along with the global commitment amount and the other capital calls and other the dividend and return and everything. How you gonna be distribute to them, how you gonna be return that capital to them, everything means everything about the fees, right? So on the master agreement, what would be the terms and conditions there, or what would be the other data or details that you can see? The investor investor name or limited partners names, LP names, GP names, then global commitment amount. So this is total global commitment amount. Commitment, it means Like limited partners, they have committed, so they will contribute this amount to the businesses, right? So that is what we are saying, that it's a global commitment amount. मतलब मानना कि चलो कि भाई मैं दे दूंगा, मैं रेडी हूं, बट अब नहीं, अभी अभी के अभी नहीं देना है, तो एक आप प्रॉमिस ले रहे हो उनसे कि मैं कितने अमाउंट के लिए दे रहा हूं, मैं जैसे कि 20 मिलियन है, चलो मैं 20 मिलियन में 5 हिस्सों में दे दूंगा, या फिर 4 किस्त बोलते हैं ना उसे, 5 किस्त में दे दूंगा, 2 किस्त में, ऐसा सीन है वो। बाकी कुछ ही नहीं, वर्ड है ग्लोबल कमिटमेंट। ये नॉर्मल जैसे होता है ना कि लोन लेते हैं हम लोग, जो लोन की अमाउंट होती है टोटल लोन अमाउंट होती है, बट जो मंथली पे करते हैं वो कैपिटल कॉल की तरह ही है, कमिटमेंट कॉल, कैपिटल कॉल, राइट। ग्लोबल कमिटमेंट अमाउंट, सो ये होना चाहिए, इट शुड बी, लेट्स से 100 मिलियन है तो इट शुड बी 100 मिलियन। देन fees, very important and hot topic nowadays that you're saying in this industry. Fees percentage. So generally that 2 and 20 is working around 20% is the carried interest that goes to the general partners, and 2% that goes to the management houses or administrators who are providing this administration activity to administer, entire fund, that 2%, and it can be negotiated, so it's not a fixed even, but yeah, generic terms that is, or generic numbers that we have is, it should be 2 or 20%. But even that, this carried in interest also can be extended or increased, depends on the investors and the limited partners and the general partner, so they will decide how they want to execute the agreement. Okay, so LP names, ZP names, global commitment amount, fees, and return of capital, ROC, how they will execute the return of capital procedure or process, और what would be the process for ROC, क्योंकि जैसे किस्तों में पेमेंट आ रहा है वैसे किस्तों में रिटर्न भी होना चाहिए ना, करेक्ट। ओके, देन रिटर्न्स, and the in returns the important is form of returns, that I would say form of return, it means like dividend or interest, they will have to specify it, so that is what I have mentioned here as well, because every terms and conditions should be disclosed to the issuer and investor before, and that is what this charter in place, or else you can say accord or agreement in place, right. Wait, return is something that goes to the limited partners, fees, that is something that goes to the general partners. General partners, they are like, we are, that you suppose you're working with XYZ hedge fund house, then you can consider that you are a general partners, right. So once they pay 20% fees to your firm, then you will receive salary, otherwise you will not receive salary, right. So that is how, and this return is something, so once you invest, because why the investor will invest only to multiply their assets, apart from that they will have other objectives as well, right, because the amount is 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, which is something big, right. So that is what, and even there is a risk as well, and if you're investing in a risky capital, so there should, everything should be disclosed on the paper, and if there is no that terms and conditions on paper, so it means it's a bit difficult to invest in that or to get the returns on that particular investment, and the ultimate objective of the investment is to generate or to gain some return on your investment, right. The form of return also should be there, because see, for example, because we have almost six, or say six companies. Ptm is ready with the dividend, right? Dividend, again PhonePe is ready with the dividend, but this company, the third one, is not ready with the dividend. They are saying they will provide only interest. Even sometime even interest also won't be there, depends on the business, because it's a agreement it means. So you can see, and why we sign the agreement, it is just a mutual consent between the two counterpart, and it's again the acknowledgement that they have freely accepted to the terms and conditions. So that doesn't mean कि like ये terms and condition हर एक के केस में सेम होगा, ऐसा नहीं होता है। ठीक है, कोई बोलेगा कि अभी यही कंपनी लेट से कि इसने बोला कि भाई हम कुछ नहीं देंगे, हम जो वैल्यू क्रिएट होगी वो देंगे। जैसे कि 15 मिलियन इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, 15 मिलियन की प्रिडिक्शन है कि उसका 100 मिलियन हो जाएगा, राइट? वैसे भी होता है, जरूरी नहीं है कि, बट उस केस में जो तुम्हारा एक्विजिशन होगा अलग अलग तरह से होता है, उसके भी फॉर्म्स है, सो विल डिस्कस दैट एज वेल। Okay, then this company also agree with the dividend payment. Then this one is with the interest payment, and again this one is also with the interest payment. See, we have few firms with the interest payment and we have few firms with the dividend payments, right? So if such a things is not mentioned in the agreement, then how can you trace all those things? How can you represent this data to the investors? Before go to the investor, will have to prepare a presentation, investor presentation, with all the key details, and then we'll have to sit for the discussion in the boardroom, right? And then you can represent all the inputs whatever you have, and you can convince them to sign the deal way ahead, otherwise you cannot, right? And the most important is, many people that we have the doubt in our mind is like, so accounting, it means just to only, to prepare the financial reports and all. No, it's not in that way. Accounting, it means, so we should write each and everything for a for the record keeping purpose. And if that is not in a very fine financial reporting format, that is also fine. But it should be like whatever amount that we have received, that should be on document. Whatever amount that we have paid or written, that should be also in the books of account or in a normal book or somewhere. So it should be there. So you can easily trace, right? You can easily trace how much fund that you are going to return, how much fund that you have received from the investors, how much fund that you have invested in the PTM, right? So you should, once you have an input, then you can take the decisions on it, right? Otherwise, you cannot take the decisions. And beyond that, you can see, once you invest 10 million in this Paytm, and if you see, if you feel like, suppose your value has been multiplied this much, right? So here, suppose you are looking to exit from this deal, you don't want to continue with this deal, your 10 million now become a 50 million. So now you're looking for a selling procedure, you want to sell this fund, but you cannot return this fund to the Paytm, because they are, suppose that even also happened, they also can take back their positions or uh, the equity back. They can also do that, but it's like optional. But at the moment, suppose they are not in a position to pay the $50 million, then what can you do? Even you can look for a other private equity house who can grab this position by this particular valuation, 50 million. Like these are like inter trading. inter fund trading system or strategy that you can see, right? So one fund can sell to others. Your fund scheme name was suppose your fund name was suppose, let's say XYZ LLP, and now you sell this to ABC LLP. It can happen, and it's a part of their business. ऐसे नहीं होता है कि भाई 4 साल के लिए इन्वेस्ट कर दो और बैठ जाओ, तो फिर आपको सिर्फ 4 साल में एक ही बार अकाउंटिंग करना पड़ेगा और रिव्यू करना पड़ेगा, उसके लिए आपको हायर करने की ज़रूरत है नहीं है, राइट? जो ये 4 मिलियंस है, ये जितने भी 4 मिलियंस 2 मिलियंस है, एक्चुअली मार्केट में सेल होते हैं, राइट? जैसे कि 2 मिलियन के 4 मिलियन बन गए, मैं क्यों रहूंगा उसमें? मुझे नहीं रहना है। आप मैंने इन्वेस्टर को कमिट किया है कि 20% रिटर्न मिलेंगे, मैंने 20% दे दिए, बट ये भी सवाल आता है ना कि वो दूसरे बिजनेसेस क्यों इन्वेस्ट करेंगे उसमें फिर? अपने अपने हर एक फंड मैनेजर का खुद का अपना अपना एक नजरिया है। उनको लगता है कि 50 मिलियन के और 100 मिलियन हो सकते हैं, तो वो एंट्री मारेंगे, नहीं तो फिर डिस्काउंट वैल्यू पे ले लेंगे, कुछ भी हो सकता है ना चीजें, इट्स इन्वेस्टमेंट बिजनेस। तो ये एक ऑन गोइंग एक्टिविटी है, सो दैट इज व्हाट, ऐसे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट हेज फंड्स बैंक्स कई सारे हमें दिखते हैं ना, एज अ काउंटर पार्टी दिखने लगते हैं सिस्टम में। वेर एवर यू वर्क यू कैन सी द नेम्स, दिस बैंक्स एंड हेज फंड हाउसेस एंड प्राइवेट इक्विटी हाउसेस और blah blah things, right? So that is what the even accounting come into picture. Okay, so see this, even there's the individual portion that even call like tranches, right? Or the contract note, or else that you can call it contract note. Why we call contract notes? Where you can see all the details, the value, amount, trade date, transfer date, payment date, release date, everything, counterparty, buyer, seller, every details that you can see, right? Then here that you can, when you see this procedure, because in the global agreement that you can see all these names, and why the agreement is important, sometime there will be a question on this part, but yeah, so you should mention these names, because if there is no agreement in place, then how you gonna be traced on all the activities, right? Fund withdrawal fund, drawdown fund, commitment calls, to investment funds, how you gonna be traced? So that is what we should have a agreement in place, where we can arrange everything in a very systematic way, and we can trace them very easily. So we should have that, right? Okay, so here the important point is, so you are getting my points, right? Whatever we are discussing here. अदरवाइज मैं ही बोलते जा रहा हूँ और कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है सर, बहुत सारी चीजें। they are only, see, the general partners are only entitled to received the fees, बाकी डिविडेंड आ रहा है क्या आ रहा है, तो इन्वेस्टर का पार्ट है ना भाई। इन्वेस्ट देखो, तुम इक्विटी इक्विटी लेते हो, नॉर्मली इक्विटी लेते हो क्या? ब्रोकर उसमें से डिविडेंड, जब डिविडेंड तुम्हें मिलता है तो ब्रोकर ले लेता है क्या उसमें से? नहीं, ब्रोकर इज ओनली एंटाइटल्ड टू रिसीव्ड फीस, broking charges. That is what the agreement in place, right? So there are n number of terms that you can see, technical terms that you can see. So here see, first stage, because first time जब contribute होने वाला था capital, तो उतना था, let's say 44444, 20 million था something, received capital 20 million, but this was the first time. But when you gonna raise the second installment or second, the series of a raising fund or receiving funds, here that you don't need to raise the fund, but at least we'll have to send a reminder notice to the investors, because as I mentioned earlier, they cannot contribute or the transfer entire amount in the one go. That is what the agreement in place, right? So when you raise this or when you shout to the investors or limited partners, can you, because this is the due date, because so in the agreement itself you can see the due date as well. So on which date they are going to transfer that fund to us. Let's say today, or let's say Monday is the due date for this second installment, right? So in that case, then we'll have to take a capital call, and we'll have to send the notices to all the investors C, D, E, F, G, and in the notice itself, you can see the details. Dear investor, dear sir, so this is the due date for this particular amount. So as I committed, so total global commitment amount was this 20, and in the first installment that you have paid this, and in the second that you are liable to pay this 4 million. Please confirm to us the same. Because once they confirm that 4 million they're going to pay, then only you can invest, right? Because here also you can see this is the link. Otherwise, you cannot invest. See the 4 million or 2 million that you have, whatever amount that you have committed, then you cannot allocate that fund to all the uh, issuers or the companies, investment companies. You cannot allocate that fund. So that is what. So this the agreement is important. That agreement gives you the right to ask to the investor to provide the fund. Uh, happened. See, the agreement is it's nothing but it is like that they should pay. And even see, sometime what will happen, I'll tell you. Suppose you have invested, almost all the investors they have invested around 20 million in phone pay, and so ultimately what happened at the end of this, this investment cycle, so phone pay is default on the payment. Default means they become insolvent, right? And that happened. So here that every investor they will have to lose capital or principal. See, this is the risk. So where the PTM is default, so the same way investor also can be default, right? So so that is what. So what is the importance of agreement then? What is the importance of accounting then? Why they are providing funding in a different stages then? There, because suppose they funded two rounds to to the phone pay, and at the moment they realize that, so this phone pay can be default in the upcoming time, because there is no growth in the customer base, there is no growth in the other revenue, there is no growth in the the profit and loss. So and even the losses are increasing substantially. So in that case, you can stop the funding or you can breach the contract, right? You can deny to provide fund to the this pay phone pay, because after all, see, as an investor, so always we should have to, or we should try to secure to the investment first or to the principal amount first. To get a return on investment, that is a secondary aspect of the investment. And if you are lucky or fortunate in that case, definitely your value or the investment can be multiplied. But after all, so this investment is linked with the market. And when we say market, so market it means, so where you can see the n number of the factors which can affect on the investment. So it could be volatility or other government policies or tax policies or government instabilities or the geopolitical issues, right? Or n number of things that you can see. foreign policies, blah 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 things. So due to that, the business can be affected, then investment can be affected, then even will have to lose the principal amount as well. इवन ये सवाल भी पूछा जाता है कि प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट कभी मतलब जाएगी क्या या फिर आप गमाओगे क्या उसमें हो सकता है क्या या इट्स अ पॉसिबिलिटी राइट फिर ये बोलेंगे कि ये रिकवर कैसे करोगे रिकवर कैसे हो सकती है उसमें रिकवर होने के लिए कई सारी चीजें हैं जैसे कि ये चीजें बाद में हम डिस्कस करेंगे धीरे धीरे जैसे कि सीडीएस है क्रेडिट डिफॉल्ट स्वैप टीआरएस है टोटल रेवेन्यू स्वैप्स डेरिवेटिव प्रोडक्ट्स आएंगे जैसे कि प्रिंसिपल स्वैप्स swaps it means you can enter into the derivative agreements as well if you feel that so this company become the insolvent or default in upcoming time so you can secure your investment first you can sign the agreement with the counterparty who is ready to take this entire risk right but there is also again risk जैसे कि जिस पार्टी ने आपको कमिट किया वो पार्टी भी डिफॉल्ट हो गई if you can read to the 2008 bailout situation in US or maybe the another there was a big recession uh, declared in UK as well. If you do the analysis of both the recessions, then you will have a better understanding about this derivative product, why the derivative is important and how it is risky as well. So what is the default risk which is involved in the derivative, all the derivative products, right? So derivatives and that is what even the Lehman Brothers is one of the examples that we have. It's become insolvent just because of that the derivatives and all because they had signed lots of derivative agreements and at the same time जिसने डेरिवेटिव मतलब जिसके लिए डेरिवेटिव एग्रीमेंट्स किए वो भी डिफॉल्ट बना जिसने डेरिवेटिव का प्रॉमिस लिया था वो भी बना कैसे करें अब बिजनेस तो इट इज अ रिस्क ठीक है इसलिए तो अग्रीमेंट है जो एग्रीमेंट जनरल टर्म शीट बोलते हैं कोई ग्लोबल एग्रीमेंट बोलेगा कोई मास्टर एग्रीमेंट बोलेगा बट द इम्पोर्टेंट इज एवरीथिंग शुड बी देयर ऑन द डॉक्यूमेंट राइट केवाईसी डॉक्यूमेंट भी होते हैं उनकी कौन सिग्नेटरीज है कौन फंडिंग प्रोसेस अभी एक बैंक है तो बैंक से तो सभी लोग मिलके तो फंडिंग नहीं करेंगे ना देयर शुड बी समवन और डेडिकेटेड POC point of contact who can process or who can release the fund on behalf of XYZ bank right as a limited partners bank also can be one of the NBFCs also can be one of the limited partners that doesn't mean only the HNI investor will be the partners right so that is what you can see the bank's names as well so there is a linkage yeah the capital call words that you can see and that is what the capital call come into picture because every time we'll have to take a call and ask for the investor to provide fund for the second round third round and fourth round for every round that you can call the capital call right so this is okay so when we see the capital call again we'll have to look to the return of capital as well or drawdown request. Hmm. Vice versa. It's like differently. Vice versa. It means. Wait. I'll show you. Drawdown of capital. Drawdown of capital. It means to return the capital. Okay. So first of all, see here. So why we took this practical example. So there is a reason. Okay. So see first of all, we had invested around 10 million in Nazara technology, right? And now suppose that 10 million becomes 100 million. Let's assume it, right? So here is the 100 millions. 100 millions, right? And if we see this 100 millions that invested from 5 different investors, and every investor contributed equally, right? So it means first of all we'll have to divide this 100 million value into 5. So each investor will receive 20 million, right? Okay. Okay. So the twist is why they will receive. Okay. So why we have just picked up this the Nazara one, because recently Nazara listed on a stock exchange platform, right? So now the important few important things that I wanted to discuss. So we discuss about the angel investing, right? Angel investing. Then we also look to the seed funding. Then again we look to the VC. Then now this we are discussing about the PE, private equity capital, right? So once the company listed, PE will exit. How they will exit? So once they listed, so here after listing, the hedge fund houses will come into picture, mutual fund houses will come into picture, then the other HNIs or individual HNIs will come into picture like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, and many more, right? Damani. Then a retail investor come into picture that we do with the if you have a Zerodha or other the demat account like ICICI, HDFC, then you can do the tradings. And even you can buy and sell the equity shares of the the Nazara as well, right? So in short, private equity houses they will sell their stake to these houses in the gray market, and remaining also that they can sell to the retail investors as well if they want, and they will exit from the Nazara technology, right? So once नज़ारा टेक्नोलॉजी अगर एग्जिट करते समय उनको इतना फंड मिला है, कितना 20 मिलियन एच, यानी कि 100 मिलियन उनकी वैल्यू क्रिएट हुई है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जब उनकी कंपनी लिस्ट होने जा रही है, यहाँ पे जो हमने एग्रीमेंट में चीजें दिखी है ना, वैल्यूएशन वो इंपॉर्टेंट है। वैल्यूएशन, प्राइसिंग, ये सभी कैलकुलेट होता है यहाँ पे। कैलकुलेट होने के बाद भी, क्योंकि हेज फंड ये लोग भी नेगोशिएट करेंगे, म्यूचुअल फंड हाउसेस भी नेगोशिएट करेंगे। ये ऐसे ही नहीं ना कि भाई मैं चलो कुछ भी वैल्यू मिल रही तो मैं ले लूंगा, नहीं होता है ना ऐसे। एंड सेकंड थिंग, ये तो पहले प्रेफरेंस इक्विटी होता है प्रोबेबली, या फिर जो उसको डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट भी कहा जाता है, प्रेफरेंस इक्विटी बोल सकते हो, या फिर डेट भी होता है, या फिर बॉन्ड्स भी होता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है। सो दैट इज व्हाट कि इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट्स वगैरह कम इनटू पिक्चर, जो इन्वेस्टिंग होती है प्राइवेट इक्विटी के लिए, उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ मैं। तो जैसे यहाँ पे ये सब जितने भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट है इट विल कन्वर्ट इनटू इक्विटी जब ये लिस्ट होंगे तब, क्योंकि आफ्टर ऑल एक बिजनेस की वैल्यू है। वैल्यू कैसे रिप्रेजेंट करोगे? कुछ ना कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट होना चाहिए, उसका नाम कुछ ना कुछ होना चाहिए, उसके ऊपर कुछ ना कुछ वैल्यू मेंशन होनी चाहिए, तब जाके वो वैल्यू किसी और को आप बेचोगे ना, नहीं तो नहीं बेच सकते। प्रोसेस कैसे कैसे कंसिडर करोगे कि इस इक्विटी के लिए मुझे 1000 देना है या 2000 देना है, राइट? तो ये यहां पर फिर इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट होता है, दैट इज व्हाट यहां पे हम लोग इक्विटी लेते हैं डिमैट अकाउंट से, यहाँ पे हम लेते हैं। तो इसमें भी पोर्शन हो सकता है, प्रोमोटर का भी रहता है हिस्सा कुछ। प्रोमोटर्स लेट्स से 35%, 10% रिटेल इन्वेस्टर के लिए कितना हो, यहाँ पे लेट्स से let's assume it 50, 10, then 60, HNI, 10, 70, 20, 90, and 10. Right? So that is how even you can see the investment in the Nazara Tech from a different investment players. सी दिस, यहाँ पे जाके प्राइवेट इक्विटी मैच्योर हो रहा है जब तुम्हारा लिस्टेड होगा बीएससी एनएससी, तो तुम ये पूरा का पूरा अपना प्राइवेट इक्विटी जो जिसकी वैल्यू थी, कितनी वैल्यू होगी जब तुमने इन्वेस्ट किया था, 10 मिलियन थी, उसकी वैल्यू जाके 10x हो गई। 10x का मतलब है कि 100 गुना बढ़ गई। एंड नाउ यू हैव, okay, let's see, you sold it to the दिस हाउसेस, हेज फंड, म्यूचुअल फंड, जितने लोगों को बेचना है उतने आपने बेच दिया, एंड यहाँ से तुम एग्जिट करोगे। ठीक है, एंड लेट्स एज्यूम इट, अभी हम एक एग्जांपल के साथ ये सेशन खत्म करेंगे, इसको हम नेक्स्ट सेशन में कंटिन्यू करेंगे क्योंकि बहुत लंबा जाएगा, मुझे भी पता है सैटरडे संडे, इसलिए मैंने बोला कि ये जो टॉपिक्स है ना, एक 15-20 मिनट में खत्म नहीं कर सकते। एंड अगर तुमको मैं डिप में ज्ञान नहीं दे रहा हूँ तो तुम्हारा वही हाल होगा कि आगे जाके अभी जो हो रहा है वही आगे भी होगा। इसलिए पूरी चीजें पता होना चाहिए। अभी अकाउंटिंग क्यों करते वो तब जाके समझोगे, अगर मैं ज्ञान कितना भी दूं अकाउंटिंग करते करते तो नहीं समझे। ठीक है, right. तो सी दिस, अभी यहाँ पे देख लीजिए, अगर यहाँ से इफ द प्राइवेट इक्विटी हाउसेज दे आर लुकिंग फॉर एग्जिटिंग प्रोसीजर, एग्जिटिंग प्रोसीजर का मतलब है कि तुम्हें ये पैसा आया हुआ है। ठीक है, ये फंड तुम्हारे पास पड़ा हुआ है, 100 मिलियन। Now, if you have this fund, so again, there would be a two procedures that you can follow. One, you can ask for the investors, can we reinvest this particular fund in the another funds or another companies, right? So this is one, or else you can directly proceed for a return of capital. So that particular return of capital procedure called as like drawdown. Drawdown means अभी डाउन हो रहा है, कैपिटल कम हो रहा है, रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं आप, रिटर्न करके दे रहे हो तुम, राइट? तो रिटर्न भी कितना होगा, जैसे कि अभी there is a two ways to calculate the capital. To calculate the this gain, that is something different, or to calculate the only capital, that is something different, right? We are returning here like, see, so one, this the Nazara has been matured. The word also matured is important. Most of the time they use this word like matured. So Nazara became matured, so we are returning capital for a Nazara now, right? So whatever capital that we have received from the Nazara, I think the 2 million for each investor, right? So 2 million that will proceed with the return of capital, return of capital. So maybe you will have a question, then हम कैसे फीस चार्ज करेंगे, कब लेंगे? डेफिनेटली यहीं पे लेंगे। डिपेंड्स होता है कि देखो, फीस तो क्वार्टरली चार्ज होता है, Q1, Q2, 3, ऐसे 4, 5, 6, 7, बट ये डेबिट जब होता है, प्रोबेबली जब तुम एक्चुअली फीस लेते हो एनुअली होता है, राइट? तो इट मीन्स यहां तक फीस लेने का तो सवाल आता ही नहीं है। एंड अगर कुछ बचता भी है, यानी कि उस क्वार्टर का, तो आप ये जब फाइनल सेटलमेंट करोगे तब ले लोगे। बट यहाँ पे आपको दो कॉलम बनाने पड़ेंगे, जैसे कि यहाँ पे तो एक हुआ कैपिटल का, दूसरा होगा रिटर्न का, राइट? रिटर्न जो उनको मिले हैं ऑलमोस्ट 5x, यानी कि उनको ढाई, कितना 100% है ना, 100 मिलियंस, 90 मिलियंस कुछ रिटर्न मिले ना, 10 मिलियन के लिए 9x बोल सकते हैं, 9x हुई, 9 गुना इन्वेस्टमेंट हुई उनकी, तो 90 मिलियन के रिटर्न्स है, तो ये रिटर्न्स उनके पास आए हैं। तो ये भी उनके ही है जिनकी इन्वेस्टमेंट है, इसलिए हम इन्वेस्टरों को देते हैं। एज अ प्राइवेट इक्विटी फर्म वी आर ओनली एंटाइटल्ड टू गेट the the carried out interest or that fees that whatever we have committed 20%, 25%, 15%, 10%, whatever it is, राइट बाकी अगर उनको इतना पैसा भी 9x पैसा हुआ है या फिर उसका 10x हुआ तो उतना जैसे कि अगर हम यहाँ पर एक एग्जांपल लेने वाले जैसे कि पेटी इसका फोन पे का समझो फोन पे का भी रिटर्न कुछ आ ही नहीं रहा है जो हमने डिफॉल्ट हो गया फोन पे तो वो तो जाएगा ना राइट तो जैसे हम पकड़ते हैं वैसे नहीं होता है कुछ चीज़ें यहाँ पे हमारा इस सेशन में नज़ारा मैच्योर हुआ है तो हमने नज़ारा का कैपिटल भी अगर 90 को मुझे देना है एक को तो कितना जाएगा 90 डिवाइड so almost 18 million that we have generated the return on investment and which is something गुड मतलब अगर तुम उसका परसेंटेज में निकालोगे कि कितना रिटर्न मैंने दिया है मेरे इन्वेस्टरों को सो ऑलमोस्ट 2% into 18 11% return not even it will be more than that so कितना होगा yeah so it will be yeah 11% or maybe the 18 into this much around 900% return that we have generated from the नज़ारा टिक ठीक है सो ये होता है रिटर्न्स पाने का प्राइवेट इक्विटी में तरीका बट अभी अगर आपने देखा कि भाई रिटर्न्स तो बहुत ज्यादा निकल रहे हैं अलॉन्ग विद दैट तुम्हें डिविडेंड मिलेगा इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट मिलेगा ये डिपेंड होता है एग्रीमेंट्स के ऊपर कि आप कैसे एग्रीमेंट साइन करना चाहते हो फॉर अ बेनिफिट्स फॉर अ कैपिटल गेन फॉर अ डिविडेंड फॉर अ रिटर्न फॉर अ अदर बेनिफिट्स कैसे so everything is depends on the agreement so that is what the documentation is the key activity in the private equity process or even the term sheet okay सो ये ऐसे फ्रेमवर्क होता है बाकी के चार अलग अलग कॉल्स है अलग अलग कॉल्स के लिए हम अलग अलग सिचुएशन अप्लाई करेंगे तो उसी से हमें रिस्क भी पता चलेगी एंड अगर आप इफ यू कंपेयर विद द हेज फंड डेफिनेटली देयर विल बी अ व्यूज रिस्क इन द प्राइवेट इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट दैट इज व्हाट एज कंपेयर टू द हेज फंड private equity houses they generate the views written on their investment as well and that is what this becoming more popular private equity product in the market as well. I'll show you the proper presentation of the private equity versus public equity investment as well. In the last 10 years or else 20 years, the private equity product has been generated the views return than the private equity and even shown the views growth than the public equity because after all this uh, hedge fund mutual fund is also part of a public equity okay and if you see the from a risk wise how can you the diversify the risk into the private equity product or how can you hedge the risk into the private equity product to take a right decision on right time so this is again very important and help you to save from the huge losses right and again to choose a right business or unique businesses for investment that is also key decision that I would say and from a diversification perspective already we have diversified our investment into a different segments because Paytm into the payment solution, PhonePe again into the payment solution, but Nazara into the gaming, Zomato into delivery and food, Flipkart into the online shopping, payment solution, sorry, Mobic into the again payment solution, and Byju's into the edutech. So that is how or private equity businesses they hedge their risk or mitigate their risk into this way. क्योंकि वहां उनके पास दूसरा कोई ऑप्शन है ही नहीं है ना, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, राइट? So here in this session we have covered many important elements. ओके, जो चीज़ें इंटरव्यू में आपको दिखेगी, इंटरव्यू में पूछे जाएंगे सवाल, ऐसे ही सवाल पूछे जाते हैं, बट इट इज़ लाइक ये जो हमने डिटेल फ्रेमवर्क किया है इस पे, ऐसे नहीं कि हमने कुछ थेरोटिकली मैंने समझाने की कोशिश करी है। मैंने इसलिए डेफिनेशन भी नहीं कही है इसमें, एंटायर सेशन में मैंने डेफिनेशन कहीं पे नहीं कही है, ठीक है? अगर मैं डेफिनेशन कहता तो फिर वही आप खुद भी जाके पढ़ सकते थे। पर ये चीज़ें ऐसी होती है, ऐसे फ्रेमवर्क होता है, ऐसी चीजें वर्कआउट होने लगती है यहाँ पे। अब जाके चीजें फिर आपको धीरे धीरे खुद रियलाइज होने लगेगा, अरे यार इसलिए अकाउंटिंग इंपॉर्टेंट है। फिर कैसे ट्रेस करेंगे, रिटर्न देना है, कैपिटल उसकी इतने हैं, फीस उतना चार्ज करना है, अगर कोई डिफॉल्ट हो गया बीच में, कोई डिफॉल्ट नहीं हुआ, बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं, नंबर ऑफ चीजें हैं। बीच में किसी ने बोला कि अभी इन्वेस्टर कोई बोल रहा है कि मेरा फंड मुझे रिटर्न चाहिए, हो सकता है ना कि ऐसे एग्रीमेंट में उसने ही बोला था कि मुझे फंड रिटर्न भी चाहिए। जैसे कि बहुत बार ऐसे होता है, जैसे कि ये बी इन्वेस्टर है, लेट्स से कि डी इन्वेस्टर ये कह रहा है कि मुझे, मैंने सिर्फ 1 साल के लिए इन्वेस्ट किया था, तो अब मुझे रिटर्न चाहिए यार मेरा पैसा, क्या करोगे तुम? रिटर्न दोगे? रिटर्न देने के लिए आपके पास तो खुद के पास कुछ पैसा नहीं होगा, क्योंकि एक आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर की तरह हो, करेक्ट? तो आप फिर दूसरे इन्वेस्टर को ढूंढोगे, कोई और इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए रेडी, उसकी इन्वेस्टमेंट आप उसको बेचोगे। तो ये ऐसे वर्कआउट होती है चीजें, कुछ इन्वेस्टर ऐड होंगे तो कुछ इन्वेस्टर एग्जिट भी होंगे। इसलिए हम लोग हैं, क्योंकि एवरी टाइम न्यू इन्वेस्टर ऑनबोर्ड करना, उसका केवाईसी करना, उसका डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करना, फिर उसको अपने सिस्टम में उसका जो अकाउंट है, जो भी चीजें पूरी डिप्लॉय करना या फिर फिट करना, ये जो एग्जिट हुआ है उसका डेटा निकालना, उसको बंद करना, क्लोज आउट करना, क्लोजिंग करना उसके लिए, करेक्ट? ये हर प्रोसेस होती है यहाँ पे तुम्हें। अभी प्रोसेसेस कौन सी दिखेगी? डॉक्यूमेंटेशन प्रोसेस हो सकती है, अकाउंटिंग प्रोसेस हो सकती है, तुम्हारी ट्रेड प्रोसेसिंग प्रोसेस हो सकती है, क्योंकि ये 2 मिलियन, 20 मिलियन, 1 मिलियन, ये कंटिन्यूसली ट्रेड होते रहते हैं ना, ट्रांचेस पूरे। ट्रेडिंग प्रोसेस होगी, बुकिंग प्रोसेस होगी, इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट कैलकुलेशन के लिए, डिविडेंड के लिए, ये अक्रूड डिविडेंड है या फिर अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट है, इसके लिए प्रोसेस होगी, इनकम प्रोसेस भी होगी, करेक्ट? इनकम कैलकुलेशन प्रोसेस होगी, ट्रेड सेटलमेंट प्रोसेस हो सकती है, जो कि प्रेफर्ड इक्विटीज वगैरह इनको हम सेटल करेंगे हर एक इन्वेस्टर के अकाउंट्स में, राइट? देन तुम्हारा रिपोर्टिंग प्रोसेस होगा, रिपोर्टिंग इज द अगेन की एक्टिविटी, फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग, फाइनल अकाउंटिंग, जर्नल एंट्रीज, मेन लेजर, सब लेजर, एवरीथिंग दैट विल हैव टू प्रिपेयर। तो इतनी सब चीजें लिंक्ड है इससे। Okay, so we'll stop here. Now you will have a 5 minutes, so you can raise your doubt, so we can resolve it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So even yeah, once the session will end on this private equity, I'll share this sheet with you if you want. You can save this for your future references as well, right? Let me close this recording first.